Men of Reddit, what are some things a mom should know while raising a boy? I'm going to speak as a 33-year-old man who was raised by a heavy-handed overbearing single mother. Let him be himself. He will resent you his entire life if you force your lifestyle, career and beliefs onto him. Don't keep him from his father or give him bad information. If you two split, okay fine, but let the man see and spend time with his father. These two ideas may not seem like much, but I cannot stress and emphasize the importance of both of these enough. Nothing interesting happened in school. If something interesting happened in school, we'd tell you. It's commonly thought that our fathers dictate how we see women, but you will be our first and greatest ideal of a woman. Don't screw that up. If you knock on his door and he says, "Give me a minute," give him a minute. Don't just walk in. My dad always knocks and he immediately opens the door. If it's early in the morning, he'll just walk in assuming I'm still asleep. I told him it's his house and he can do what he wants. But one day he'll walk in on me dick in hand, and that's his problem, not mine. If you tease him about personal relationships at a young age, he'll never trust you enough to talk about deep personal matters. Don't throw sharp objects at children when you're angry. My mother was angry and threw Goku action figure whose hair was sharp as hell at my brother for being annoying, so she threw at him. It pierced his skin and was stuck inside his leg and blood was everywhere. It took an hour to calm him down and bandage him. Yay, moms, don't do that. He was like 5 or 6 at the time. When your teenage son suddenly wants to do his own laundry, let him. You do not need to be touching what he is trying to wash away. If you call for him in the other room, and he responds with yes, actually ask him to come rather than not saying anything. Do not overprotect your child. The real world is one mean. Better learn to toughen it up early than late. Don't use their room as a punishment. They should feel comfortable and safe there. It is okay to be sad and even cry. You just cannot use it as a weapon. Don't shame them for touching themselves. Just explain that it is something they should only do when they are alone. This is for all kids. Tell them that you love to pretend Santa is real. This allows them to engage in the spirit of the season, not spoil it for other kids while not be lying to them. Apologize when you are wrong. When they fall and get hurt, your initial reaction should be like whatever they did was really exciting. When they start showing sadness, then be quick to comfort. The penis grows during puberty. My mom has little knowledge of male biology. When I was like 6 or 7, she teased me that my penis was too small. Of course it's small, I'm only 6. And it grows as I grow older. P.S. My wee-wee isn't small anymore. What the actual f***? That's how you instantly give someone self-esteem issues. Don't judge his GF's looks. My mom automatically assumed all of my exes with big titties had STDs. My mom judged my ex BC she had depression and took pills to get through it. Guess who has depression now? My brother. Not judging him any. Teach him to cook. My post-college roommate had his mom cook all of his meals. It was embarrassing to watch him try to operate a kitchen when he decided he wanted to make something of his own. I've not seen this one, probably because it's maybe a bit sketchy, but if the kid's got a foreskin, make sure you teach him young that he needs to clean underneath that thing. Don't wait till he's 16 and getting his first blowjob and suddenly his girlfriend is vomiting all over his crotch. This might have seemed obvious to some dudes when they were kids, but truthfully it took me too long to realize, and I've seen posts on Reddit of guys not realizing the importance of this until their freaking 30s. I'll admit, telling a 12 to 13-year-old it could be a tricky thing to breach, but if he's younger, make sure you get this through to him for God's sake. These apply to children in general. Please explain why things are being done, like why you're going to run errands, why he has to do the dishes, why he shouldn't eat all that sugar. It's very frustrating not to know. It's also important that you reward the good things he does, and punish the bad through deprivation of reward. You should also praise work ethic over talent, as that's the biggest predictor of success. If you and his father are not together or you have negative feelings towards his father, don't tell him all the time how much he reminds you of his father. Even when we're young, we have a lot of pride and it's easily bruised. Try to keep that in mind. but also don't let it stop you from redirecting bad behavior. Honestly though, aside from the physiological things, there's nothing you can do raising a girl that you can't do raising a boy. Put an effort into understanding him as a person, be encouraging, but let him have his space. Teach him to value things by making him earn them. Teach life skills, and foster independence. Don't project your desires onto him. Also, if you are a single parent, please be aware that he might see the other men in your life as competition for your time and attention. That shouldn't ever stop you from dating, but if you see a change in behavior, that could be an answer. I have a young boy going on 3 years old. No matter the age, they're fascinated with their peens. Can confirm, I'm 24 and still fascinated by it. Boy Logic 101. I just did something dangerous and got hurt, but only because I need to perfect my technique. Next time it's going to work perfectly. Respect his integrity. Don't deprive him of his dignity. Don't treat his sexuality as a problem. Do absolutely not repress him emotionally. Don't have the default angle of teaching, directing be that of someone that needs to be restrained. You shape the interaction and society will reap what you sow. These are things that are habitually done to males constantly. When changing a diaper, have the new one ready, and cover the ween. Cold air hits and they pee. Most men are task-orientated and this isn't really different while we're growing up. Don't drop hints. Don't get angry at your son not taking hints. Give him an actual instruction. Once you've finished what you're doing, can you take the bins out for me? We'll get a much better response than take the bins out now, and a much better response than none ever helps out around the house. The bins are getting full, guess I'll do it myself. Even if you're frustrated, or feel that way, give tasks, not hints. And in doing so make sure they're aware that their current task, interest isn't any less important than your frustration. Of course, this is different if it's the second, third, fourth time you've asked. But never lead with the hint or the do it now. Also, we tend to queue up tasks in our heads. If you ask us to do something, then something else, and something else, we will mentally plan what we're going to do, and give it an order of importance, and get to the jobs in that order. If you ask us to take out the bins, change the bulb in the kitchen and push the hoover round, don't nag us about the other 2 tasks while we're doing one of them. We're likely just doing it in the order that makes sense in our heads, even if it doesn't make sense in yours. Ladies, this applies to most of your husbands as well. If you want something to be done, ask for it to be done. Don't hint. Don't command, ask, and 9 times out of 10 it will get done providing they were raised even slightly right. One I haven't seen. If there isn't a father figure around, make sure the peeing standing up thing gets covered. Don't forget shitting standing up. He'll pick up on all the frustrated expressions of all men are dogs and ain't no such thing as a good man narratives that you think escape the little guy's notice because you weren't talking directly to him. He may well grow up feeling like it's 1, impossible to be a good man, so why try? Or 2, devote an obsessive, unhappy, unhealthy portion of his life trying to prove you wrong and win your approval, or continually flip-flop between the two. Help him to understand you can't mask Bo, especially by using half a can of deodorant. Don't tease your sons about any female friends. It usually leads to issues with them being unable to talk to you about things when they actually do like someone. Actually knock and wait. They might not be masturbating but they still like their privacy. Otherwise they lock their door so you can't get in. They close themselves into a mental cage because you thought it was a great idea to just barge into little Timmy's room when he specifically stated that he doesn't like it when you do that. Banning him from leaving the house alone at age 12 until he's 16 because there's a single pedophile in the area isn't going to give him any good habits. Have a healthy relationship with your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend or whatever. Having a welcoming, stable, warm home is the very basis of being a positive influence on your children. Don't just focus on teaching him the good stuff. Focus as well on being a role model for him. Knocking before entering. Open a savings account and chuck $10 or $20 in there a week. It will help them out a ton in the future. You will not believe how much he'll eat as a teenager. Leave them the hell alone every once in a while. Don't tease him about girls, just let him be, otherwise he'll feel too awkward to bring anybody home or confide to you. You can have interest, just don't be overly nosy. Spend time with us and get dad of the boy to spend time with him too. Just spend time together. Have him help you all with various tasks. Just spend time together. It's extremely important. Trust is key. Let him know you're there to help him. Be strict enough that he turns out well, but not so harsh he resents you and/or rebels. Finding the right balance with all of the things you mentioned is exceeding difficult. I mean, I'm trying for sure, but it's not easy at all. Encourage them to be adventurous, to take smart risks, and how to negotiate. Was raised by a very overprotective mother. I learned none of these things till middle age. Keep your promises, especially the small ones that are easy to let slip. And when you break or slip up on one, directly acknowledge it with them and apologize while trying to make amends. Even especially, really, if they don't remember. Raising a child that keeps their word is 100% modeling, not lecture. You have to show them how to build those skills by demonstrating them daily, while reinforcing that with direct explanation of what you're doing or thinking in relevant contexts. Simply put, don't hold them or yourself to a standard of perfection or pure honesty. Expect accountability and integrity, even in failure or mistakes. It's just as important how we handle when we fail through our own mistakes as trying to avoid making them. Do not take our blankets off in the morning when you try to get us to wake up. When he's 8 years old, if he accidentally sets fire to the living room rug, go easy on him. If you're arguing and he retreats to his own room or outside, don't follow along continuing the argument. Young people have a hard time expressing themselves and may need time to process their thoughts. Men are too often given the impression that they are only allowed specific responses, and unfortunately one of them is anger. As a teenager, I couldn't get away from my parents when we argued and I ended up feeling trapped. I've suffered a panic attack when my mom flew off the handles the last time, was kicked out in my underwear in -10 degrees, got to go back in half an hour later completely frozen and just curled up in a corner and cried. She came up to me, took photos of me and then ridiculed me for not being a man and blamed me for destroying her life. Soon, 1 year, then I'll be gone, forever. It's good to be involved, but don't be overbearing. The most stressed out and repressed guys I knew growing up were always the ones whose mothers controlled every aspect of their lives. Also, have trust and tell him you love him. If it's shaped like a sword, it's a sword. I don't care how old you are, it's a sword. Also, a kid pretending his finger or a stick, or a Pop-Tart is a gun is in absolutely no way an indication that there's anything wrong with your kid or that he's going to become a school shooter or something. Understand that you can't pause an online game. When you're toilet training him, drop a square of TP or a couple of Cheerios in the bowl for him to aim at. He'll learn faster if it's a game and you'll have a lot less mess to clean up. This is from my experience as a son. My parents taught a great deal of things for my teenage years. Instead of grounding your son for watching porn and masturbating, talk to them about it and tell them that it's perfectly normal to do so. If you are too angry or embarrassed to do so, let the dad do the talking. It's very important for them to know that it's a normal thing to do and there's really nothing to hide or be embarrassed about. I have seen way too many parents grounding and/or going insane over their son being caught masturbating, and it seriously confuses me how they refuse to accept the fact that their son is just going through puberty. I just remembered my dad's best line: if you aren't doing it, then something is obviously not right. Let them have their own ideas. Your children aren't clay for you to sculpt however the you want, then abuse when it doesn't turn out right. Let him get dirty. Let him fail. Let him make mistakes. Know that he'll make mistakes and make him embrace the consequences of those mistakes. You can either make sure your son is always safe or make him strong. It is best for him to be strong. It is also important to note, would you rather your son be liked by you or by other people? Sometimes, the two are not compatible. Knowing the difference is intellectually and emotionally hard, but important for you to do. Mother knows best has some weight as a phrase, but should never be law in your relationship with you son. It's infuriating when trying to defend yourself or what you want, while knowing the entire time you'll get dismissed entirely. Of course you should have authority over your son, but ensure you do so respectfully. Listen to what they have to say and reflect upon what is being said. Don't take those moments your son may argue with you as time to catch your breath in between berating him, that and when he may be looking for jobs. Unless you live in a small town, or the place of work has a sign regarding hiring. Everywhere does job applications online. Sending him around to every shop with a CV, resume will just be a waste of paper and time. A certain generation is under the impression that it'll show you're determined and may get you a call. Where the reality is closer to, oh, his parents clearly told him to do this. Yeah, sorry, all our job stuff is online. You are raising him to be a man someday. He's not your little boy forever. Make sure he knows girls are also people just like him, so he doesn't be all awkward around them thinking they are some higher being. Figured that out myself after elementary school, and now I can talk to anyone with ease.